Tiffany. I'm Judy Davis. I'm Trinity's lactation consultant, and I've been with Trinity for many years, and I enjoy working with you moms and babies doing this breastfeeding, and I'm here to do some education with you this afternoon. Okay, do you have any questions for me before I get started?
I have a couple.
Okay.
How long breast milk is good for?
Okay, as in you have pumped the breast milk and it's now out, or like just in general,
Yeah,
like how long can you
pump it out.
breastfeed? Once you pump the milk out, okay. We typically tell you that it is good for 5 hours at room temperature, 5 days in a refrigerator, 5 months in a refrigerator freezer. If you have access to a deep freeze, the breast milk is good for a year.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Then if you don't have any questions, then I'll just get started with what I typically do. First, I would like to say thank you for choosing to breastfeed. You are doing the best thing for your baby. This is nature. This is what we're supposed to do, and you've made the best choice for her. So, I always like to hit on diet. And the new teaching now is you are to eat and drink anything you want in moderation. You can have your caffeine, you can have your chocolates, you can have your gas-forming foods. You eat anything you want in moderation. Keep taking your prenatal vitamin and drink plenty of water. Drink to quench your thirst, okay? And as long as you're eating healthy, your milk's going to be healthy. If your body is deficient of vitamins, nutrients, then your milk will be deficient, okay? And people always ask, well, when do I know to feed my baby? How often do I feed my baby? A breastfed baby actually is fed on what's called demand, where you let the baby be at the breast as often as she wants, as long as she wants. Demand feeding, you're going to watch the baby for feeding cues. Feeding cues are in this early development. She might be laying there and she starts to move her little mouth around the little bed. Maybe she's now trying to get her fist. That's a perfect time to get the baby near the breast. She may not latch on and start to nurse at that time, but she's starting to show you the early cues. Mommy, I'm thinking I want to get hungry, and get the baby near the breast at that time and let her root around. The last feeding cue certainly would be crying. And you can get a crying baby on the breast. It's just so much nicer to get her on the breast when she's at that earlier feeding cues, okay? And roughly in this first 7 to 10 days of life, she should be getting on the breast 10 to 12 times in a 24-hour period. So if you do the math, that's a lot of breast time. About every couple hours, she should be trying to show you feeding cues and wanting to get on the breast. And you would want her to suckle for a good 15-minute session. Okay. Once she gets about a week of life or more, she should start nursing roughly 8 times in a day. But this first initial, week, 10 days, let her be here a lot. You always want to start on a breast, let her be on that breast until she drifts off to sleep. When she drifts off to sleep, at that point you would offer a burp and then try to get her on the second breast. She may or may not take that second breast, but certainly you want to offer the second breast. When you go for the next feeding session, if she didn't take that second breast at all the first time, that's the one you're going to start on. However, if she did take the second breast with that first feeding, then you're going to still start on that same breast because she's going to get most of her milk out of the first breast that she's on. So you always, in essence, want to alternate your starting breasts, okay? Tiffany, I brought my baby Jackie just to review with you the positions for breastfeeding. And what I like to point out to you is anytime you're nursing, no matter what position you're in with your baby, you want your baby to be in a nice line, your ear, your shoulder, and your hip, sort of in a nice line, because many times moms will want to hold the baby this way and the head is turned this way trying to nurse. And if you turn your head and try to swallow, it's very hard to swallow. So you always want to be in a nice line. So if you were doing just the traditional Mona Lisa hold, you want your baby sort of belly to belly with you, cradled in your arm and your hand here to manipulate your breast, and your baby's in a nice line, okay? Should you elect to do the football hold, the football hold is very nice, especially if you're a larger breasted woman. Very nice hold because you can support the baby's neck right here with your hand, and you have the baby tucked like a running back is running with a football, hence the football hold. You're holding the baby right here, supporting the neck with your hand, and your baby still is in a nice line. If you should go from the football hold to the cross cradle hold, you're basically just bringing your baby across your body. From the football hold, now across your body, and you're still holding your baby in a nice line. and manipulating your breast with the opposite hand, okay? Now there's also the side lying position where you would be laying on your side and your baby would be laying on the side right there with you, okay? And we can show that to you when we have your baby, actually, because it's a very nice position for first-time moms, okay? And the thing that I like to point out to you with the positioning is you are going to get some sore nipples. It's going to happen. They are not used to this aggressive sucking. So by doing the different positions, you are changing where your baby's mouth is on the shaft of your nipple, okay? So do the different positions so that'll help with the nipple discomfort. The other thing is you may get some cracked or sore or bleeding nipples, and you can still nurse the baby on that breast that is cracked or even bleeding. Just, you know, make sure that you have a nice latch, and if you're having difficulty with latch, you need to make sure that you talk with me or you talk with your nurses so we can make sure this baby is latched on very well before you leave, because most of the problems from breastfeeding are because of a poor latch, and we want to make sure that the baby's doing well for you. And the other thing I'd like to point out is it is breastfeeding, it's not nipple. So you want to make sure that darker area of your breast, that areola, you're getting back in the baby's mouth for breastfeeding, okay? The big thing with breastfeeding is patience and persistence. You need to work at it, your baby's learning it, and it's just, don't get discouraged, okay? Babies will cry, you'll get nervous, it will work. Patience and persistence, and just enjoy this time with your baby, understanding that you are doing the best thing for her that you can do. Do you have any questions for me?
Is it still okay to have a glass of wine at night?
Absolutely, you may have a glass of wine with your dinner or in the evening. We used to teach pump and dump. If you had any alcohol, you were to dump that. That is old teaching. We are telling you now that 4 ounces of wine, 2 cans of beer, or 2 ounces of a hard liquor are okay to have and breastfeed your baby. The other thing I would encourage is that you maybe drink that after you have finished a nursing session, but certainly it is fine to have that occasional sip of alcohol and breastfeed your baby. Okay? And Tiffany, when you get home, if you have any questions or concerns regarding the breastfeeding, sometimes it's 2 weeks out and something may come up, or you're now returning to work and you need some questions about pumping and storage, please call us. You have myself or you have Tish, who's one of our lactation counselors. We will be happy to answer any questions you have. We will be happy to meet up with you here in the hospital after you are discharged. Okay?
Great.
Do you have any other questions for me?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you.